All right, so today's exam review will focus on Chapter 4. We're going to look at a simple interest question and a compound interest question. First one up, Bill's Bank offers a simple interest rate of 4% per annum per year. How much interest would Bill earn on his investment of $3,000 after 9 months? Here's the move. We'll write down our given information. What does this 4% represent? That's our interest rate. What do I have to make sure to do to the interest rate? Express it as a decimal. 4% as a decimal is 0.04. Anyone know what the principal would be? So the principal in this case is the amount Bill invests, which would be $3,000. And the term or the time he invests is 9 months. What do I have to do with that 9 months? I have to divide it by 12. I have to figure out or state my time in years. So you can leave it as 9/12. Some people might change that to 3/4. They might even change it to a decimal of 0.75. No need. All right. When it comes to the simple interest formula, I, the amount of interest earned, is equal to P, the principal, the amount they invest or borrow, multiplied by the interest rate as a decimal, multiplied by the time in years. When I fill this all in, I get 3,000 multiplied by 0.04 multiplied by 3/4, 9/12, 0.75. It doesn't matter how you write it. I'll leave it as 9/12 for you. And when you do this calculation, you multiply the top 3,000 by the top 0.04 times the top 9, and then you just divide by 12. And you get 90 what? $90. That is the interest he would earn after 9 months. And that's all the question wanted me to solve. How much interest would Bill earn? Everyone okay with that? On to question number 2. So you could write a little sentence here too and say that Bill would earn $90 in interest. Question number 2 involves compound interest. So I'll write down my given information. We'll read the problem, calculate the interest earned on an initial investment of $8,000. There's the investment, there's the principal. If interest is paid at 3.75%, so my R value, 3.75 as a decimal, divide by 100 would be 0.0375. What does this mean? It's compounded semi-annually. Twice a year. So what number is equal to 2? Or what variable is equal to 2? N, the number of compounds, wicked. And how many years is he investing for? 3. There's my T value. Now the formula for compound interest looks like this. A, the final amount at the end of your term, is equal to P. Open a bracket. Inside the brackets, you have the number 1 plus R divided by N. Close the bracket. That's all raised to the power of N times T. But notice that when I solve this, like I have P, I have R and N and T. When I solve this, I'm going to figure out how much money would be in his account or her account at the end of 3 years. This doesn't tell me the interest. So we'll figure out the interest after I get the final amount. So filling it all in, I end up with 8,000 here. I'll open my bracket. I have 1 plus 0.0375. I'm going to divide that by 2. I'll close the bracket, and I'm going to raise that to the power of 2 times 3. Everyone okay with that? Here's the thing I would do first. I would move into the brackets, and I'm going to divide 0.0375 by 2. That gives me 0.01875. And then I'm going to add 1. So I divided first, then I added the 1. In the brackets, I should have this number, 1.01875. I'm going to raise that to the power of 2 times 3. Well, what's 2 times 3? 6. Okay. In my calculator, you could go 1.01875 multiplied by itself 6 times, or you could write 1.01875 and raise it to the power of 6. That gives me this big greasy decimal. I'll write it down, the whole thing, 1.117907.141. And what do I do with that number? Multiply it by 8,000. And I end up with a total of $8,943.26. I round to the nearest cent. So it says 0.257131 would be 26 cents. So he invested 8,000. After 3 years, he's got $8,943.26. How much interest did they earn? How do I do that next part? How do I figure out the I? I take the final amount and I subtract the principal. Awesome. So it's $8,943.26 minus, what was the principal? $8,000 right there. How much money did they earn in interest? $943.26. And to answer the question, it says calculate the interest earned. They would earn $943.26. Well, those were the kind of big questions that we focused on in Chapter 4.